who is actually ensuring the quality of that code. If you are about security or about quality, make sure that you are hyper focused on making sure that these things are not allowed to let go. I saw a case with a CIO once. He signed off on something which was not properly secured, and they had a disaster after that.
Yeah, so what I was asking is that a lot of AI tools can really just help the non-technical people, non-technical founders to have an app and are ready to ship. And in terms of cybersecurity, I do see a really big, a vulnerability there. And what's your take on this?
No, for sure. I mean, this is again one of the conversations I was having last week with somebody, and my thought process was we are seeing a lot of people generating a lot of code with vibe coding, but who is actually ensuring the quality of that code? And how do you ensure the security of that code? Because you may be able to generate a page or a web page, but you have if you're not a non-technical founder or non-technical person, you have no understanding of how the security is going to be breached or how the security protocols are supposed to be implemented. Similarly, you don't have this understanding of what kind of quality needs to be, guardrails need to be in place for that. So I think we are going to see a lot of this security vulnerability side and the reliability issues come up with all of these vibe coded applications, especially if they're not taken through the process of quality engineering, through security practices, and if there are not really enough right skill set around those applications which can ensure that the quality and the security is not compromised. So absolutely, I think this is going to be an interesting era in that sense, of a lot more work probably being produced for security teams and the testing team, just because the coding is just so flexible and so easy now.
And right now, let me ask the question from another angle. If I'm a user and I'm just on Instagram and I see some random ad pops up, and then how do is there any checklist I can check if this app is kind of like having a minimum standard of GDPR, SOC 2? Is there any certificate me as a retail user can self-verify if I should sign up for this app or not?
Most regulated industries will expect you to have SOC 2 certification now in the product. But the more sophisticated the customers are, they ask you for this certification. I know it's a difficult one to get for the application, and it's an expensive one as well. But people need that now, and they will demand from you this certification specifically. But also, you can look at ISO 27001 as a certification, because at least that ensures that some of your practices in-house are compliant to the security standards available globally. It may not be that sophisticated, but it's decent enough.
Okay. So what I was saying is if I'm a retail customer, and so there'll be two certificates I'm looking at just in case I put myself in a dangerous position, would be SOC 2 and ISO 27001, correct?
Yes, or if you are really not aware of these things, at least see, for example, if they have the security certificates in place, the HTTPS is the one big landmark, big thing to look at, because that's an encryption standard then. So yeah, I mean, like, you can look at that, you can look at the certificates, you can look at, you can also get a feel of the application as well when you're using them. Like, you can see that, okay, how secure it is potentially. So you can look at all of these things to make sure that you are not in the hands of somebody who is trying to get your credit card information, your personal information, etc.
And as a non-technical founder or just a technical founder, but they want to ship a product by its own, do we help them to get the certificate? And then do we help also smaller enterprise?
Yeah. So I mean, when we work with customers, there are two types of customers. One who would say, so we had a German customer who would come to us. They would say, "Can you do the scanning of our application for security? And we need a certificate from you guys that you have done it," because they had to submit it to the insurance companies as a proof. So we would of course give them the certificate. But then there are some customers who come and they say, "Can you help us be compliant to ISO 27001, FOB 2, PCI DSS, for example?" A bunch of these standards. So we have got that kind of skill set in-house in place, which can help our customers achieve these certifications. Um, so that's how typically we have worked in both these directions.
Interesting. Okay, thank you so much. If there is any last word of wisdom in cybersecurity and QA in this topic, would you like to share?
If you are about security or about quality, make sure that you are hyper focused on making sure that these things are not allowed to let go. I mean, like once, I saw a say case with a CIO once, where because of the pressure from the business teams, he signed off on something which was not properly secured, and they had a disaster after that, right? And I understand, there are business pressures, and business teams may or may not understand the challenges of a technical founder of a CTO, for example. But it is the CTO's responsibility to make sure that they are not signing up on something which they believe are not reliable, or they're not secure, or they have some other inherent potential issues that may come up later.
Okay, thank you so much for today's wisdom. And yeah, I do see cybersecurity knowledge and QA team goes hand in hand, even though like you said, people sometimes prefer two independent firm or like one owning house. But I do think the eligible QA team should have like really strong knowledge in the cybersecurity sense.
Absolute, absolute.
Thank you, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Brian.